What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to another Too Good for Theaters video. Today we're going to be breaking down the Patriots 28-22 loss at home versus the Los Angeles Rams, so let's get right into it. So moving over here to an offensive perspective, I thought that this was Alex Van Pelt's best game from a play calling standpoint thus far this season. Just really the distribution between the run and the pass had like a pretty good balance on it there. And he was starting to implement some more concepts that this Patriots team really hadn't been running beyond this week. And I think that's more so because they've been able to actually have some continuity along the offensive line. And I don't think that it was the offensive line's best game by any means today, but you can see how the run blocking has improved over these past couple games. So they are able to use this kind of to balance out the passing attack and the rushing offense once more. But also just getting more motion with the wide receivers, especially guys like Demario Douglas in the slot there, even moving Hunter Henry and Austin Hooper when they're lined up on the outside there, outside the numbers. Just kind of identifying what defenses are trying to run against this Patriots offense. And I think that that's certainly helping Drake Maye. And we even saw Marcus Jones get in there. I believe it was a total of 2 times in this game. He had a rushing attempt and was more so a decoy for another screen pass there. But that was another offensive option that Alex Van Pelt really implemented in this game was the screen passing game, whether that was in the backfield with Ramondre Stevenson or even some tight end screens with, I believe it was Austin Hooper on some of them. But the offensive line did look like they were getting out and attacking on some of those screen passes. And that's an encouraging sign. It's kind of showing the growth of this offensive line. And this offensive line continues to kind of perform better. Like I said before, it wasn't their best day in pass protection standpoint by any means. Certainly gave up a huge strip sack there to Drake Maye, that left side. I believe it was Michael Jordan and Vidarian Lowe on that left side. And you could even throw in Ben Brown there. Really got kind of stunted by an actual stunt that the Rams used. And it gave up a free hit on Drake Maye where he looked like he was pumping it, but just not a lot of time to really get rid of that ball. And, of course, that ended up turning into some Rams points there. So that was really, I think, really one of the big turning points in this game. But another big turning point early on in this game was the Vidarian Lowe illegal formation. And that really kind of stalled the Patriots' drive right there. You know, I believe it was the second drive of the game. Drake Maye leads a great offensive drive, goes down the field, hits Kendrick Bourne for a 10-yard touchdown pass. And then the defense does a nice job of getting the Rams off the field early on in this game. And you can even see it on the graphic. The Rams are an extremely slow starting team. I believe they were close to last in every offensive category, from point differential in the first quarter and honestly yards in total in the first quarter. So this was something that the Patriots did take advantage of in this game, going out to an early 7-0 lead and could have potentially put it up to a 2-score game, very similar to how they did against Jacksonville. But, you know, the Patriots drive, they get into this little bit of a 3rd down and long here. And instead of being able to kind of maybe boot a 50-yard field goal in windy conditions, Vidarian Lowe has an illegal formation on a great play by Drake Maye that actually where he was able to get outside the pocket, keep his eyes downfield, and actually threw it across his body to Hunter Henry deep in Rams territory. Of course, it got called back with the illegal formation there on 3rd down. Puts an end to the drive. Patriots were forced to punt from that standpoint. And that's really where the momentum in this game started to shift to the Rams. And the Rams made quick work of the Patriots defense like they did a lot of times today. And you really just kind of see how Matthew Stafford is a veteran quarterback in this league and one of the better quarterbacks that's really ever played the game. He really did do a nice job of picking apart this Patriots defense. But back to the offense, like I said before, Patriots had some minor success in the running game, and they had success through the air. Really, I think the big takeaway from this game is just how much costly turnovers and own penalties can cost you this game. Like I said before, the illegal formation was a huge turning point in this game. And then, of course, I believe it might have been the drive right after that, actually. That's where the strip sack came in. And the Rams scored 14 points in, I think, a minute and a half of game time after those couple plays right there. And that really ended up changing the momentum of this game. But what encouraging sign that I really did like to see is whenever really the Patriots did face a little bit of adversity after giving up a score, especially in the second half, Drake Maye did do a nice job of leading the team down the field and getting points up on the board. And I believe it was the 28-10 time where he was able to drive down the field and get a field goal at least. Or maybe it was 21. It was after the Rams scored that big touchdown play. I believe it was like 60 yards. And Drake Maye did a nice job of leading the team down the field. And unfortunately, the Patriots were unable to convert down near the goal line there and couldn't punch the ball in. But it was able to make a 21-13 lead there with a Joey Sly field goal. Then after the Rams ended up scoring again, Drake Maye did a real nice job of leading the team down the field. And Alex Van Pelt, with a very creative play calling, actually getting Vidarian Lowe, of all people, a tackle-eligible play action, a touchdown pass there from Drake Maye. But just the response from Drake Maye in this game is very encouraging, and it really just kind of shows his nerves, how he does not get flustered. And that's a very encouraging sign for this offense going forward. And he looks like the guy. Honestly, I think that this was Drake Maye's best game thus far this season. And I understand that turnovers are still a little bit of a problem there. I don't want to pin really either one of these turnovers on him in this game, but he just looked in control of this offense. Even Mark Sanchez was kind of pointing it out during the broadcast. He was like, yeah, he knows what guys are supposed to be doing, like bringing in Jalen Polk on blocking plays, stuff like that. But he is starting to begin to understand this offense, and it feels like Alex Van Pelt and Drake Maye really do have this team going into a positive direction from an offensive standpoint, and it continued to grow momentum here. And this looks like it's starting to bud some more points on the board for the Patriots here. So hopefully this momentum continues towards the end of the season, and this can really become a building block that the Patriots can use to kind of propel themselves into next season. And just taking a look at more stats from this game, Kendrick Bourne had himself a really nice day. Really took that benching in stride and had a very good game out there. Taking a look at his stats on the day, I believe he came up with 5 receptions for 70 yards, had a big 20-plus yarder where he was able to kind of break away on a zone coverage there. Obviously had that nice contested catch in the end zone there for a touchdown pass, and that was a perfect ball by Drake Maye on that in cut. Obviously capping off the second drive and giving the Patriots a nice 7-0 lead there. But Kendrick Bourne had a really nice day, had a nice one-on-one battle, actually leading on the drive where Drake Maye was interception, trying to kind of have that comeback engaged there, but had a real nice contested catch in that scenario where he was able to win a one-on-one route on the outside. So Kendrick Bourne hauled in all of his targets on the day, and he does have a pretty good established connection with Drake Maye, kind of going back to that Titans game as well. He looks like he's getting a rapport with Drake Maye. And like I said before, kind of on this channel, Kendrick Bourne is here for a couple more seasons, so that's an encouraging sign. I do believe that Kendrick Bourne is probably your best wide receiver at this your standpoint on the outside. But kind of all the guys. Pop Douglas had a real nice day. Kayshon Boutte had a couple of drops early on in this game. Granted, that second drop was more a really tough catch, kind of over the shoulder and kind of guiding him back towards the middle of the field. And it was a really tough play, but that first slant route, you got to calm down with that football there. But all the receivers that really had some real time in this day with Pop Douglas, Kayshon Boutte, and Kendrick Bourne really were able to kind of win some of those matchups on the outside or in the slot there. And they all had some pretty solid productive days there. And, of course, Hunter Henry coming down with 6 of his 9 targets on the day for 63 yards. Austin Hooper, 4 of his 4 targets. The tight ends in this room or on this offense are getting more and more engaged, and it's encouraging to really see how Drake Maye is kind of using them against zone coverage in particular. There was a couple of times where both Austin Hooper and Hunter Henry just found the open spots in the zone, especially across the middle of the field. And we all know how Drake Maye kind of loves to attack the middle of the field there. And a real nice job by them kind of establishing that rapport with Drake Maye. So that's another area where Alex Van Pelt really has done a nice job of getting guys open across the middle of the field against zone, whether it's through some scat concepts or honestly just crosses across the middle of the field, whether it's against man or zone. Patriots receivers and tight ends are starting to get open, and that's an area where Drake Maye loves to throw the football there. So very encouraged by that sign there. Moving over to the running game, Ramondre Stevenson, 73 yards on 20 attempts. He had a rushing yard or a high of 12 yards on the ground for one of his highest rushes, but only 3.7 yards on the ground. But compared to the last couple weeks, That's an encouraging sign, and this team is starting to run the ball a little bit better. Of course, Antonio Gibson and JaMychal Hasty had some scat back carries there, and even Marcus Jones getting a carry. So it's going to be interesting to see if the Patriots do implement Marcus Jones on offense a little more, maybe get a little more explosiveness on the outside. But I think if this Patriots offense really limited the turnovers today, more so just that strip sack, it certainly could be a different outcome in this game. And now on that final interception, I think it was just a miscommunication between Pop Douglas and Drake Maye. Pop Douglas, you got to know what's going on there and what Drake Maye really wants you to do in that area. It looked like he kept running his route. It looked like a deep post route, but I think that Drake Maye really wanted him to settle in between the zone that the Rams were running there. And, of course, that ball was intercepted, but just not on the same page there. Would have been a difficult drive to complete. And Drake Maye, on these kind of game-time drives thus far, I believe he is 1-3 on the season. So not bad at all, but you got to be on the same page in that scenario, especially I believe that was coming off a timeout by the Patriots too. So that's either on the coaching staff or on the players of not doing a good job of communication there. So 22 points in total, but the offense did look really good on the day. You eliminate those turnovers, and this Rams defense did have a little bit of a struggle of getting your offense off the field. So it's good to see offense getting a little bit more momentum. Hopefully they can continue to carry this over into the remaining portion of the season. Moving over to the defensive perspective here, all the positives that this defense built upon last week really regressed against a more talented offense, that being the Los Angeles Rams. Or let me not even say more talented, but definitely a better coached offense than what they had against Chicago there. You really saw the Rams coaching staff take advantage of this Patriots defense with a lot of the motion. And Matthew Stafford absolutely had his way with this Patriots defense, being able to identify whether it was man versus zone with all the motion. And there was some exotic play calling in there by the Rams, which honestly is just impressive on their coaching staff. There were times where Puka Nacua would be in motion, then kind of as the ball's being snapped, run out of the backfield, kind of in like a little bit of a fullback sense. But, I mean, that's extremely difficult to game plan upon there. But I think through all the motions, this Patriots team really kind of gave away what they were doing on defense, whether it was man or zone, and there's not really an answer to it. That's what Sean McVay and this Rams coaching staff does, and they're kind of a little bit of those originators with these new kind of West Coast offenses or these kind of zone running schemes. Him and Kyle Shanahan obviously are probably the biggest two young head coaches who really kind of implemented that new kind of offensive scheme in this league here. And it's extremely difficult to stop, especially when you're not getting pressure. And Matthew Stafford has all day to throw there. And I do think that this defensive play calling, particularly one play in particular, was very questionable to me. 2nd and 9, setting a 7-man blitz on Matthew Stafford with no safeties deep, really. Or let me not say that. I do believe it was a cover one look, but or no, it wasn't, because Kyle Duggar was actually playing man coverage against, I believe it was Parkinson, the tight end. So no one back deep, and Cooper Kupp just beats Jonathan Jones on I believe it was a little bit of a skinny post route across the middle of the field there. And on the 2nd 9, when you're in deep in Rams territory there, I'm really kind of questioning the play call, or at least the timing of that blitz. Maybe if it's 3rd down, like it's kind of one of those gimme plays, but I mean, the whole entire kind of playbook is open there for the Rams. It could be a short pass. It could be a deep pass there. And that was a really strange time for me for the Patriots to really call that cover 0 blitz. And Matthew Stafford absolutely burned them. And I know even when they were kind of going away to commercial, you kind of saw Matthew Stafford kind of motion to the sideline like, yeah, cover 0. That was easy. Like, honest. It was a rough play call there by this Patriots defense. And really, the only time that they got pressure on the day was to blitz, so I understand why they ended up blitzing in a lot of these scenarios here, but they did not come down with a single sack on the day. But it was encouraging to see guys like Christian Barmore return back onto the field there. Honestly, he played a little bit more than I thought he would, so that's an encouraging sign. But just having Christian Barmore back, I think he's going to help in both the run production as well as the pass rush production for this defense when his snap count isn't limited. Of course, you have recent signee as well, Yannick Ngakoue. Got a little bit of time there. I believe he's wearing Josh Uche's 55 number, so It's interesting to kind of see him come in. I believe he was just mostly playing on pass rush downs. Unfortunately, I did not see him get a lot of pressure there, but he is coming off an injury, like I said, in this offseason on one of my community posts there. But hopefully those are two guys who are going to be able to kind of help you in both the run production standpoint as well as the pass production standpoint there from your pass and run defense. But on the day, I mean, Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua absolutely stole the show. And those are two guys where they're really tough covers. They're both really good at what they do. And honestly, I thought that Jonathan Jones, that last play of the game where he was ultimately able to kind of poke that ball out from Puka Nacua, that was such a good play. It was a little bit of a redeeming play from how he allowed Cooper Kupp to kind of come down with that ball. But like I said before, that defensive coaching staff really put him in a tough spot there, especially with guarding one of the better wide receivers in this league and probably a top 3 route runner in this league, and that being Cooper Kupp there. But a real nice job of Jonathan Jones kind of poking that ball out from Puka Nacua. And I was a little surprised that the Rams kind of threw the ball as much as they did on that final drive. And Keon White had himself a great, I believe it was a tip pass or a batted pass at the line of scrimmage that really allowed this Patriots defense to kind of tee off a little bit on Matthew Stafford later in that game. But just what a tremendous poke out there from Jonathan Jones, kind of just showing that veteran leadership. Puka Nacua comes down with that ball, but real nice job by Jonathan Jones. Got his head turned around when he was facing Puka Nacua so he wouldn't draw the flag. And just reading the hands and poking that ball out really just kind of shows that veteran cornership or cornerback mentality that he has. And that was just an incredible play, poking that ball out there from Puka Nacua. But as I said before, the Patriots did not do a good job against the run either, whether it was through cutback lanes and not setting the edge or frankly just getting manhandled up front. The Rams' offensive line is a little depleted as well. So I was hoping that the Patriots were going to look better against the run than they did today, but unfortunately that was not the case. Kyron Williams had some very solid runs, both to the outside and up the middle. And we even saw Blake Corum out of Michigan getting some rushing lanes. He had a real nice cutback where Anthony Jennings was actually on the opposite side of the play, but did not do as good a job of setting the edge there. And I understand that he's kind of going one way, but then you got to realize that there could be a cutback lane there, and Blake Corum certainly exploited that. But the Rams, like I said before, running that outside zone scheme, and former Patriots offensive lineman, I believe Ryan Wendell, is actually their offensive line coach, and I think the broadcast kind of alluded to that. So that's going to be interesting. But maybe the Patriots should do a little bit of studying on the outside zone that the Rams kind of run, because the Rams, they're really the model of perfection when using that scheme. So, and understandably, the Patriots do want to implement that a little bit. Alex Van Pelt has been trying to implement that to not much success, especially not a lot of success on par with the Rams. But, I mean, this Rams offense is extremely talented, and these stats are a little bit inflated because Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp really haven't been on the field healthy along with Matthew Stafford thus far this year. But the Rams are an extremely talented offense with those two guys on the field there. And, of course, they have speedster like Tutu Atwell as well, and then Kyron Williams, pretty solid back in this league. So that's a very talented offense. And when you have a quarterback, a Hall of Fame quarterback like Matthew Stafford with the arm talent, that's an incredibly difficult offense to really kind of stop. And unfortunately, this is a young Patriots defensive coaching staff, and hopefully they're going to be able to learn something from how the Rams really attacked their defense today. And maybe they're going to have to do a better job in disguising some coverages, especially against motion. Honestly, I'm happy I'm not a defensive coordinator in this league, especially going up against guys like Kyle Shanahan and Sean McVay with all the unique motions and kind of play calls that they have. But this Patriots coaching staff is going to have to hit the textbooks as well as kind of review some film and see how this Patriots defense is going to be able to play better. But hopefully with implementing Christian Barmore and Yannick Ngakoue into some run scenarios, they're going to look better against the run moving forward, as well as just better pass rush with adding Christian Barmore, one of the better pass rush interior linemen in the league, who can even switch outside, as well as Ngakoue having like 70 career sacks or so. But it didn't really show up a lot today, but hopefully when they're not on limited snap counts, they are going to be able to kind of help this pass defense or pass rush production. So going to look for this defensive coaching staff to bounce back next week against another offense that's pretty talented in the Miami Dolphins. Of course, Tua Tagovailoa is back as well. So it's going to be very similar to how Sean McVay kind of ran this offense. And hopefully the Patriots are going to be able to adjust a little bit, especially when it is a divisional game going down to Miami. All right, everyone. Tough loss there, but an encouraging sign from the offense. Drake Maye looks really good. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And once again, thank you so much for watching.